The journey of grief and loss. Let the healing process begin. You can rarely fully prepare yourself for the loss of something dear to you. When a traumatic loss occurs, both the body types of losses. Grief occurs from many losses, and not just death. A recent and severe medical diagnosis or worsening prognosis, a loss of employment or a demotion, an important relationship coming to an end to an important chapter in your life, like a graduation or retirement, grown children leaving the home, loss of identity, loss of a dream. Changes can cause grief since when there is change, it means something is lost, and many others. It is very important to deal directly with losses and go through a healthy healing process to protect yourself mentally and emotionally. You'll be able to focus more on the positive aspects of your life rather than solely focusing your energy on the recent loss. One way to look at the grief process is the journey of learning to accept the loss that has occurred and to find peace within yourself while living with that loss. What happens when we deny ourselves the grieving process? The pain and adversity you feel from a loss doesn't just go away. When ignored, grief and its effects will manifest in other ways, typically those which are not good for you. Some of those include holds you back emotionally and mentally, depression, suicidal ideation, intense periods of isolation in order to avoid things that remind you of your loss, substance abuse, or other dangerous coping strategies, being mentally and emotionally stuck at the moment the loss occurred, and being stuck in one place within yourself. Forcing yourself to skip the grieving process will only hurt you in the long run. It doesn't make you strong or invincible to pretend you aren't hurting and struggling. The 5 stages of grief and loss. In 1969, famed psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross detailed in her book On Death and Dying 5 stages of grief and loss, which describe how humans typically respond to a traumatic death or loss. Denial. The denial stage is the first stage of grief and is the typical first response to a major loss. During this stage, you might catch yourself saying things like, "This can't be happening," and maintaining a sense of disbelief. Anger. For the most part, the anger state is about finding somebody to blame. You want somebody to be responsible for the loss you're experiencing, whether it's the doctor that diagnosed your loved one, the bank that took your home, or even yourself. Though displayed as anger, this is truly just displaced pain as the psyche tries to find a rationale for why the loss took place. Bargaining. Even if you don't believe in God or a higher power, you might find yourself negotiating some sort of deal. This stage is about being willing to do anything to reverse the loss and go back to normal life or have a little more time. What if and if only statements are extremely common in the bargaining stage. Depression. Mental acknowledgement of the loss. True feelings of pain and emotion appear. Includes profound sadness as the realization of the loss sinks in. Acceptance. The acceptance stage is coming to terms with the loss, acknowledging the loss occurred and dealing with it. The focus can now shift towards moving forwards to a new normal. Let's review 31 ways to find comfort through the grieving process. Accept your feelings. It's important to recognize, accept, and feel your feelings, no matter if you feel angry, sadness, sorrow, or exhaustion. All these outlets help you to process and accept what you feel about your loss. Talk with someone about your feelings. Cry. Write about your feelings.